You're making more money than ever before, and yet somehow it still doesn't feel like enough. Because from the outside, everything looks like progress. You're earning more. You've leveled up. You're doing what you were supposed to do. And if someone looked at your life on paper, they would probably say you're doing fine, maybe even better than most. But there's this quiet pressure that never really goes away. This subtle anxiety at the end of the month when you check your bank account and wonder where it all went. And at some point, you start blaming yourself. You think maybe I'm just bad with money. Maybe I need more discipline. Maybe I need to work harder, earn more, push more. But what if that's not the real problem? What if the issue isn't your income, but the system you're operating inside? Because what most people don't realize is that the moment your income increases, your life quietly expands with it. Not in obvious dramatic ways, but in small, almost invisible upgrades. A slightly better place, more convenience, better food, more subscriptions, more comfort, things that feel deserved, things that feel like progress. And none of it seems wrong in isolation. In fact, it feels right. It feels like you're finally moving forward. But over time, these small upgrades stack up and quietly become your new normal. And your new normal costs just as much as your old struggles. So even though you're earning more, you're not actually keeping more. And that's where the trap begins. Because this isn't something you consciously choose. It's something you adapt to. Your brain is wired to normalize improvement. What once felt like success quickly becomes standard. And once it becomes standard, it stops giving you satisfaction. So naturally, you start chasing the next level. More income, more upgrades, more comfort. Not because you need it, but because your brain has lost sensitivity to what you already have. And this creates a loop where you're constantly moving, but never feeling ahead. Constantly progressing, but never arriving. And this is why you see people earning more than they ever imagined still feeling stuck. Not broke on paper, but not free either. And this isn't just about personal habits. It's something deeper, something structural. Because the environment you live in is built around consumption. It quietly encourages you to spend more as you earn more. Not through force, but through influence. Through what you see, what you compare, what you think your life should look like. And over time, your financial decisions stop being about what you need and start being about how your life appears. And that shift is expensive. Because perception has no limit. There's always a better version, a higher standard, a more impressive lifestyle. And once you start playing that game, you can't really win. You can only maintain. And maintaining is exhausting because it ties your entire life to your current level of income, which means your sense of security becomes fragile. Because if your lifestyle depends on your income, then your freedom depends on your next paycheck. And that's a dangerous position to be in because it forces you to keep running, to keep performing, to keep earning at the same level or higher just to stay where you are. And that's why even high-income individuals feel pressure, feel stress, feel trapped in a way that doesn't make sense from the outside. Because they're not just funding a life anymore. They're funding a standard they can't easily step down from. And the higher that standard gets, the harder it becomes to walk away from it. And this is where most people get stuck without even realizing it. Because they confuse income with freedom. They assume that earning more automatically means living better. But in reality, earning more often just increases complexity. More bills, more expectations, more dependency, more things to maintain. And slowly, without noticing, they lose control. Not all at once, but piece by piece, decision by decision, upgrade by upgrade, until one day they realize that despite all their progress, they still feel stuck, still feel behind, still feel like they can't slow down. And that's the moment where things start to shift. Because if you look closely, the problem was never about money alone. It was about patterns, about how you respond to growth, how you define success, how you allow your life to expand without questioning whether it actually brings you closer to freedom. And once you see that pattern clearly, you start to understand that real wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much control you have. Control over your time, your decisions, your needs, your lifestyle. And most people, as they earn more, actually reduce that control because they increase their dependency on things that require constant income to sustain. And that creates a cycle where they have to keep going whether they want to or not. And that's not freedom. That's obligation disguised as success. And the most dangerous part is that it feels normal. It feels like the right path, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. Everyone is upgrading. Everyone is chasing more. Everyone is trying to move forward without questioning where forward actually leads. And so the cycle continues. People run faster, work harder, earn more, spend more, and still feel like they're not getting anywhere. Because movement is not the same as progress. And progress without direction is just motion. And motion can keep you busy for years without actually changing your position. And that's the illusion most people live in. They think they're building something meaningful, when in reality, they're just maintaining a system that keeps them dependent. And breaking out of that doesn't require extreme sacrifice. It starts with awareness, with the ability to step back and question what you're optimizing your life for. Whether the things you're chasing actually bring you closer to freedom or just deeper into the loop. And once you start asking those questions, your decisions begin to shift. You become more intentional, more selective, less reactive. You stop upgrading everything automatically. You stop equating spending with progress. And you start focusing on what actually increases your control instead of just your comfort. And that's where the real shift happens. Because instead of building a life that looks impressive, you begin building a life that feels stable, flexible, and free. And that doesn't mean rejecting ambition. It means redefining it on your own terms, separating what truly matters from what you were conditioned to chase, and understanding that the goal isn't to earn endlessly, but to reach a point where your life no longer depends entirely on how much you make. Because at the end of the day, the real question isn't how much money you earn. It's how much of your life you actually own. And if earning more keeps taking that ownership away from you, then no amount of income will ever feel like enough. And that's why so many people reach levels they once dreamed of and still feel empty, still feel behind, still feel like they're running without getting anywhere, because they never stopped to question the direction they were moving in. And once you realize that, you understand something most people don't, that the game isn't just about increasing your income. It's about escaping the patterns that keep you dependent on it. And once you break that pattern even slightly, you start to experience a different kind of progress. One that isn't based on constant upgrades, but on increasing freedom. And that's the point where things finally begin to change. Not dramatically at first, but steadily, quietly, in a way that actually moves you forward instead of just keeping you in motion. And that's the difference between earning more and actually getting ahead. And if you don't see that difference clearly, you'll keep doing everything right and still feel like something is missing. And that missing piece isn't effort or discipline. It's awareness. Because once you see the system for what it is, you stop playing it the same way. And that's when you finally stop running in circles and start moving in a direction that actually leads somewhere.